icebreaker cards?
Totally up to you.
I know I'm not nervous. I'm pretty sure he ain't. So.
All right, cool. We might not need it. If we do, I'll back them out.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'll just put it.
I don't get too nervous these days.
Nah.
Yeah. Hi. What up?
Yo. You can hear me? Sounds good. All right, cool.
Tilt it. Mm-hmm.
All right, this is good. All right, cool.
Testing. 1, 2.
Single. Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Wait, and this is my camera right here, right in front of me, right? Right here. You looked at. Okay, cool.
There's more than one camera? Just that one.
Just on it. Okay.
All right. Hey, what's up, y'all? You are listening to your Mental Matters podcast. I'm your girl Mo, and for those of you watching, thank you for tuning in. We are back with another episode. I feel like it's been a little minute, but we back. And we have two very special guests with us, Chris and Chris.
Yeah.
And they are from the Just Dadding and Shit pod, right?
Just Daddin the Podcast.
Oh, why did I feel like it was Just Dadding
It was. You
and
have to clean it up.
Oh, you cleaned it up a little bit.
It used to be called Daddin and Shit.
Got it.
And so we use that when we want to get into our
Yes.
adult conversations.
For sure.
But we go with Just Daddin the Podcast.
Got it. And that's good. That's actually good for like monetization and stuff. That's
Right.
yeah. Understood. Like it. But welcome guys. Thank you for being here. And yeah, I want to have you guys introduce yourselves, right? You guys, like, who are you, Chris? Who are you, Chris? What do you guys do? Introduce yourself to the people, and then we'll get into like, of course, the podcast stuff.
All right, cool. Go ahead, man.
I appreciate it. This is 9-5 from Just Daddin the Podcast. I do podcasting. I do have a career, project management, and I'm a father, a brother, a son, a friend, a black man here from the towns, Brooklyn all day. And appreciate you having me here.
Of course.
And I'm Chris as well. Call me Stylez. Supervisor, same thing. Dad, brother, son, friend, you name it. A listening ear, it all. And that's really it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no. Thank you for introducing yourself, guys. Appreciate you for being here. And I think, I know Chris, you and I, we spoke. Like we've actually been trying to make this happen for a little minute, right?
Yeah.
And we spoke, and I thought it was, fitting and important to have you guys because, like, you guys are representing like Black men in a really positive way that isn't always like shown, right? Like I think like I know I have a lot of like men in my life, Black men who are like positive people, like doing good things, but I don't know that that's always shown like mainstream, right? In the public, in podcasts, on social media. So I think like just seeing your podcast to me was like it was dope. It was like why not? Like this is an important conversation. I think I've only had one other like podcast episode that was centered around like fatherhood. And so I think like this conversation is important to have. Your podcast is dope. Like the things you guys talk about is important. So that's why I thought it was important to have you guys on. And I think the audience will like appreciate it too, right? So yeah, let's get into it, right? Let's get into it. Let's start off first with the mental health check-in, right? For every episode, I always do a check-in just to see how you guys are doing. So yeah, let's start. Whoever wants to go first. How has your mental health been? It could be today, it could be this week, or it could be like just overall this month, how you've been feeling.
I've been great.
Mm-hmm.
And I only keep getting better. Like that's very important to me is my mental health.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of, especially Black men, we should be really conscious of that,
Yeah.
of how important your mental health is, and kind of being that check-in even with yourself.
Yep.
I think a lot of time you're looking for the check-in, but you should take the time to check in with you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm really in a good place, real positive.
Yeah.
Uh, and like I said, it just gets more positive by the day.
Yeah.
Even when things hit me, like I was mentioning,
Mm-hmm.
like I just roll with the punches.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I get the understanding there's always gonna be bad days. There's also be good, but I just look at it as it's life.
Yeah.
Like, take one day at a time. Whatever happens, you just adjust to it, pivot a little bit, and pick up your pants, whatever,
Yes.
and keep it pushing. Um, I definitely what also helps is me, reading, going to the gym, those type of
Mm-hmm.
things just build a lot of confidence, give you that feeling like there's nothing you can't accomplish, as
Yeah.
well as some intelligence that added on. And yeah, overall I went long winded, but overall I'm in a great place.
No, I love it.
Yeah.
No, thank you for sharing. Mm-hmm.
Uh, I would say in the last month and change, I've definitely been struggling a bit.
Mm-hmm.
There's just been a lot of things in life that have been lifing
Yeah.
to like a different level. Um, but I know me, like I'm built for it. So it's like whenever things are adding on to my plate, you just gotta stuff has to get done. Like no matter how you
Mm-hmm.
feel, whatever the case may be. Like as a man, like the bills still need to get paid. Like the kids still need to get fed. The house still needs to get taken care of. So I've just been doing a lot of just like self reflections and trying my best to like balance my bandwidth with things.
Yeah.
Like every Monday at 1 o'clock, I'm unavailable to the world because I'm taking care of me. But
Love it.
this past week, thank you. This
Mm-hmm.
past week has last month at least, but then more so in the last week has definitely been a struggle. So I just take the 24 hours I get every day, do the best I can with it. If I get another 24 hours tomorrow, go out and get it done.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Love it. Love what both of you guys shared. Yeah, I think just self-care time, right? Like you need that, especially because life just keeps on giving, right? And I know you said like, the past month and change for you has been like a struggle. I don't know if you want to elaborate more, right? Like what's been
Yeah.
going on.
Yeah, I mean, just to protect some people's privacies who,
Mm-hmm.
haven't gotten given the consent to this, but nevertheless, somebody he's literally I consider my brother. Yeah, we're not from the same mother and father, but he's my brother, and he's been having a lot of health issues and struggling with that,
Mm-hmm.
and just having to be like that person that's for him
Yeah.
on top of everybody else I got to take care of and stuff like that. So it's been a lot, So trying to balance between helping somebody who really needs your help
Mm-hmm.
versus everything else you got to do day in and day out.
Yes.
So like the only space you have to be able to give is yours.
Yes.
Um, so that makes less time for you, minimizes what you can do for yourself and stuff like that. So just trying to find a balance and get through that. I know this too shall pass. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of just like you said, pulling up your bootstraps and getting it done.
Mm-hmm. For sure. No, that's a good point. But like in those moments, right? Like you being that go-to person for this other person, right? Like who do you have and for you too, Chris, who do you guys have like if you're struggling and you know, kind of need somebody to like lean on? Who are those people for you guys?
It'd be him. Like
Yeah.
at times,
Mm-hmm.
I got brothers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of us. Um, a lot of times too is it's funny because I've been through. I'm trying to think of it in a way of putting it more simpler. I think what happened to me is that I've been through nothing. Everything is everybody has their limit on certain things. Like
Mm-hmm.
especially in this world, everybody wants to compare
Yeah.
their vices.
Yes.
People kind of harbor on the fact that when things is wrong, it makes them stronger. When it's just not, it's just wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I have to kind of own it up, where it's just like I'm not gonna continue to play the victim in this type of situation. I'm gonna work my way out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment I stopped having that victim mentality, it was really honestly just made things a lot easier because
Mm.
it's like like I mentioned, my car get hit. I was like, I gotta figure out a way. I wasn't sitting there like I'm not gonna get here. I was gonna find a way here.
Yeah.
Like whether I had to take the bus, take an Uber, or something like that, I was gonna figure it out.
Mm.
A lot of times, like I get it, things hit, but it's the help for me is I hate to say it like that. Like I don't have people around, but the biggest help was me.
Mm.
Like honestly, me having faith in myself and knowing that I can accomplish certain things,
Yeah.
despite. like you said, like this too shall pass. I know there's gonna be something else. I always say
Mhm.
there's gonna be some shit that's gonna happen
Mhm.
again. Like, what's the next thing? Because it's almost like, I bet, like, let's deal. Like, even this happening today with me, with my car just getting smacked. It was something new, but it's like, not to say I've seen it, and not that I think in a negative way. It's just
Yeah,
the fact that it's life. Like you
for
said,
sure.
life be life. Like, talking to people. I mean, a lot of times too, I'll be real. Like, a lot of part that helps me feel good is that I can help in some type of way, even if it's a simple thing of me talking to somebody, because I'm also learning too. So if he's talking to me about something, or if other friends is relating, and it's almost like therapy for me,
Mhm.
like at a time, because I was like, I ain't the only person going through certain things. So yeah, I always say for myself, you get but so long to feel sorry for yourself. And
Mm.
at some point in time, you just gotta, you gotta do something about it. And it's not that I don't look at it as the manly and overly masculine type of thing. It's just his life. Like,
Right.
when you don't have no options, you do find a way. We all
Mhm.
do. It doesn't even, the world literally functions that way.
Yeah.
It's just like a plant. Like, if there's no sun, it finds some other way to find its way to grow.
Right.
I look at that same way. Like, I have to find my other way, whether it's through people, strangers, friends, and whomever. I just find
Yes.
that growth in myself.
Absolutely. No, thank you for
So
sharing that. I mean, that is like definitely strength, right? Like, and I feel like that's the thing too. Like, I feel like black men are always expected to be strong in that way. And that's why I always ask, I mean, I feel like it's important to ask, like, well, who do you have, right? Because I feel like just because, you're a man, right? You're a black man, and maybe you're the leader of your household, right? Maybe, you're the father, doesn't mean that, like, you shouldn't have like be able to rely on someone, right? If you do, hit a hard time. Because for one, thank you for coming. Like, despite your car being hit last night, and he did show me the pictures, I would have been very angry. And I don't know, me personally, I'd been like, the weekend is shot. I don't got no car. Like, for me.
it's funny you say that, because especially, it is a busy weekend. And it's kind of
Hmm.
like, yeah, I gotta laugh. Like,
Yeah.
I laugh at it. It's just, I mean, I have it could, they always say it could be worse.
Yeah.
I know that it can, but it's just like, I I look at it as, it's only bad when I don't got a breath in my body. As
Hmm.
I look at it, the
Hmm.
day that I'm not here is when it's really that serious.
Hmm.
Anything outside that, if I got a breath in my body, I figure it out. Like,
Yeah.
it's not, like I said, and I look at it in the most healthiest way, not the way that we say as black men. I agree. Like, there's that level of where you don't have the opportunity to be almost vulnerable. I don't
Yeah.
like to use that term, necessarily vulnerable, but it's just where you have the opportunity to just be human. Like,
Yeah.
just like, so I don't like to. I don't like. I've been told, "Oh, you Superman." I don't want to be Superman. I'd rather be Clark Kent.
Mm.
Like, I want to be the point where you don't know how powerful I could be, but I choose when I want to put my suit on.
Got
It
you.
was That's where I have my boundaries. My
Okay.
Clark Kent is my boundaries, because a lot of time people keep asking,
Mm.
despite the fact that I need to reset. And I think
Right.
that's what saved me a lot of times, is just the creating the boundary where I can't be Superman for everybody. I mean, I gotta be, Clark Kent is really the person with a personality.
Hmm.
Superman's just the hero. I don't want to be Superman. I want to
Right.
be like, I'm a father. I'm a brother. I'm a friend. I'm all these other things. I don't want to just be the hero
Yeah.
saving the world.
For
I don't want
sure.
to be that person. And that's literally what got me to the point of where I am. Like, a lot of people laugh. I look a little mean at the time. I have a straight face, but honestly, that's to protect the happiness I have in myself. It's
Mm.
not because I'm unhappy. It's the fact that my smiles ain't free. Like, it's like when
Mm.
you come
I
around,
know that's right.
it's just like, don't bring that drama over here, and then think,
Please.
because people see us a healed person. A lot of time they think that you could, it's something to play with a lot of time.
Oh, for sure.
So I that's just, I don't want to keep running, but it's just, it feels good to be at a peaceful place
Hmm.
overall.
Love it. No, thank you for sharing. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know we came to church today, but
He
That's
preaching.
what's up?
we need to
He's
stop.
preaching.
Yeah, you're
He's
preaching, man,
preaching.
brother
Smiles
Stylez.
ain't free. That might be the title of this episode.
Do it. But yeah, I mean, I have people I can turn to, right? But how I am is normally just self-reflective, right? Like, I usually just kind of, I'm not gonna say go into a shell, but I just, like this, like, we wear the masks, one of my
Mhm.
favorite poems, and it's just like, yo, at the end of the day, like, like, whatever's feeling with me, you're really never gonna see it. I can be as upset and I want to burn the world down. I'm gonna look exactly the same. And when I'm
Mhm.
happy, people are like, oh, you need to smile. Like, oh, like I'm good. Like, I'm just very just straightforward with my stuff.
Yeah.
I have my fiance, shout out to you, Becca, who I should lean on more, but that's something I'm learning to do.
Yeah.
Because for me, it's like the more I have to continuously talk about something that I'm trying to figure out, the more I get like I know it's here. Like I know the milk is spilt. We don't have to keep talking about the spilt milk. What am I gonna do to get more milk?
Got it.
So because if you keep coming back and back and back, it's like at this point I'm just like, all right, you know what, you got to go too, because it's just a constant reminder of what the situation is, right? So that's something I'm definitely working on more. Stylez, you know, that's my best friend. He's my son's godfather. Like we
Love it.
speak religiously and like without like judgment, like just like having somebody you can listen to and things experiences that we both have had,
Yeah.
and we can, you know, relate off of those things, you know.
I want to
But
cut you real quick. What I love about it is the fact that it's as simple as, yo, I just need your ear.
Mm.
And it's not
Yeah.
no, like, he doesn't even bombard me with
Mhm.
it. It's more like, you know, he just, yo, I need your ear. I
Yeah.
bet. I already know that it's listening mode. Like, I don't
Mhm.
gotta, because, you know, sometimes, like, you have somebody you talking to and it's like they don't give you that room.
Mhm.
It's more like I don't he not looking me for me necessarily for solutions.
Yeah.
It's just more I need the ear, and then, yeah, all right, this is the best I could give you.
For
and
sure.
then that's
Right.
it. I never
Mhm.
want to make it as judgment free as possible.
Love it.
So like however you want to do with the situation, I got you. But
Mhm.
then, you know, this is my best advice to what you're giving me.
Mhm.
And that's what I love with it. Like vice versa. If I call my, yo, I just need the ear. Sometimes it's annoyed. Like, yo, I just need the ear. And it's the same thing. And I know a lot of men don't have that
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I 100% agree, right? And like that's kind of like what our platform is about, like, you know, building a community of like black men and honestly men in general, period, but black men more specifically, right? Because yeah, we're taught to just be tough, like whatever happens, yo, just shoulders back, head up,
Yeah.
keep 10 toes down, and handle your business. But like, and like you said, I don't like particularly using the word vulnerable because it makes it feel like, oh, like there's a weak point of some kind.
Mm.
Not necessarily that. It's just that like you do need to be able to have like a safe space or some place you can just talk something out without feeling like someone's going to talk crazy or say something or somebody look at you like, oh, just be a man about it. Like, what does that really mean?
Right.
You know? But yeah, I am making an effort to talk my things out more.
Mhm.
But at the same time too, I also know like kind of like Sal was saying, it's like I'm gonna figure this out. Like
Yeah.
I know like I know what the problem is, and 99% of the time, once you know what the problem is, you're halfway to a solution. I know what the
Mhm.
problem is. Now I just got to do what I got to do to take care of it. I might have to fall back from some other things to do that.
Yeah.
I might not be as happy-go-lucky
Yeah.
during the week or whatever, but I got to take care of this. And once I take care of it, I'll be back.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely. Love it. No, thank you for sharing, both of you guys.
what
I'm
about
like,
your check-in? How are
oh
you
my
doing?
check. Thank you. Thank you for that. Yeah, I think I'm still just soaking in what both of you guys are saying.
Copy.
Fire. It was a lot of heat there. For me, I am okay. I can say maybe. So I just actually, I think was it last week? Last week I was in the Bahamas. So I came
Oh,
back
nice.
from before I went on the trip though. I was like, I need a break. Like life is, just feeling. I don't know what the word is. Like you guys familiar with burnout?
Mhm.
Right? Like I think I was like
On the verge.
on the precipice. Like it was there. I was like, if I don't leave here and just get some sun and like some time away, I'm just not gonna be good for anyone, right?
Yeah.
So I was able to go to the Bahamas and I came back just feeling a little bit more energized. I think I'm still tired though, because it was such a quick trip. But I am a therapist full time. I don't know that we didn't get to like really like chop it up because I want to save all the good stuff for the pod. But yeah, I'm a therapist full time, so I do see clients, every day except for the weekends, 5 days a week. I have a caseload of about like 25, 26 right now. I love all my clients. They're great, but I be tired, right? I'm tired
Yeah.
sometimes. There's a lot of just like taking in of other people's stuff. And then I have friends and family and stuff too. So life doesn't stop after work. And so for me, sometimes I think and I think similarly to something that you said is like, if I do feel overwhelmed, sometimes I just get quiet. It's not even a thing of like I'm going to my friends like this is what's going on all the time, because my friends have their own lives. My friends, I'm like the auntie, right? Like most of my friends have children and I'm the single one, traveling, living, figuring it out,
Mhm.
single, dealing with this dirty dating pool, right? So like and my friends is like, they're moms, some of them single moms, some of them like, but they're, in different places in their life, right? So for me, I do get the sense of like just sometimes not wanting to like burden the people around me with how I'm feeling or what's going on. Sometimes I do though, right? Like if we have girl time or whatever, like and my cousins, I'm super close with my cousins. So we'll chop it up. Like we're in a group chat, so we talk about like things going on day to day. Like, so there are spaces that are there, but a lot of times I do find that I get quiet. Like I just don't want to talk. Like I
Mhm.
just want to wait until I feel differently. And it most of the time that comes, right? Like I might feel like blah for like a week and then get back to feeling regular again. But I think it's been feeling like it's been taking longer to get back to that like normal space lately. So that's why I was like, I need to go away. I need a vacation.
Who's the therapist for the therapist?
Good question. So I don't have a therapist right now, but I have gone to therapy. I was in therapy a few years back. This was actually post undergrad. I was having a lot of anxiety. Went to therapy. I was with my therapist for about 2 years and it was great. Shout out to Heather. She's like, to this day, I'm like, Heather, where are you? Like, but yeah, that was a good experience. And then I haven't been back since, but I think I'm at a place now where I'm like, yeah, you need it, girl. Cause
Mhm.
you like, sometimes it's just like overload. I feel like sensory overload, just information overload. Like I just be wanting to be alone, which isn't necessarily the greatest. Like when I feel like when people feel that way, like I want to be alone, I don't want to interact with anyone, that's a sign that maybe like something is going on and
Yeah.
you have to like talk about it or address it, right? And I mean, that's what I would tell my clients anyway, right? So it's like, girl, you know, take your own advice and don't do that, right? So for me, I'm noticing that more lately with myself. So, but the vacation it helped a little bit. It helped. It was fun. I didn't have to think about anything work related. And being back, I feel good, right? It's Labor Day weekend, so a lot of like outside time. But yeah, not too bad though.
Okay. I think something else that not think but something else that I do and I help create. So me, my friends, shout out to all the homies. Too many y'all to tag. But I started this thing called Family First Fridays.
Hmm.
So every first Friday of the month, we started this. I started this a few years ago, and then COVID came, and it was like the blip.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
this year, I made a really conscious effort to make sure it's something that we do every month, every first Friday. It's
Hmm.
just the guys, no kids, no wives, no ladies, no nobody else,
Hmm.
and we'll always just link up and we do something.
Yeah.
Whether we go bowling, go out to eat, whatever it is.
Hmm.
We, have a barbecue or whatever, and Stylez just come along and join as well.
Yeah.
But I think it's like really important just to get all the guys together to like, like we're all here to support each other. We can all just have a good time together. If you got to talk about something, or you got some business, you got something personal or whatever.
Hmm.
And I think everyone should figure out something in their lives that it's kind of like an internal like check-in or checkpoint. Like, you go to the gym, so you know what's going on. So if you stop going to the gym, you kind of have an idea what's going on with that. So, that's something that we do, and I always look forward. Like I know it's next month, it's always on my calendar, it's on the family calendar, it's on my business calendar, like first Friday of the month.
Yeah.
Yo, forget about it. Like that has to happen. And that's something I've turned into like something to help with my mental space as well.
Love it. I love that. I think that's great. Like that's a great like suggestion or idea. For me, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'll steal that idea. Maybe I'll try to
Yeah,
incorporate
just let,
something
yeah,
like
let us know. It's trademarked, Shout out to shout out to 3F gang. But no, I think everybody should definitely do something that just you can go to and just help with like your mental space.
Yeah, for sure.
And also like Styles is saying with boundaries where like my fiance knows like the first Friday of the month,
Hmm.
like unless somebody's in the hospital dying, like
Yeah,
watch the kids, I'm
I'm
out.
unavailable.
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter. It's
Yeah,
that's
I got
has to
very
happen.
very strict with that.
yeah,
Like probably people call me an asshole, but it's just like guess
mm,
what? Like it's just what it is.
yeah.
There's many times like when you're hurting and you're sitting there, they don't see you hurting.
Hmm.
So you have to create that boundaries. Like that's my boundaries is my safe space.
Yeah.
Where it's just like I feel good to tell you no. Like I
Mm.
really do. And some people have a problem with it. They think that no is not an answer.
Hmm.
Like it's like you're supposed to be saying yes to everything, but
Yeah.
people don't understand like when you say yes, how much responsibility comes with that, especially if you want a person that will be with your integrity.
Hmm.
So it's just yeah, you got to find that safe space. Like I said, my safe space. I mean, it's crazy you say because the alone time. I like my alone time.
Yeah.
Like that's my safe space. That and sometimes me just getting in my car, throwing
Yes,
music on, and just doing my thing.
for sure.
But I know that place too where I just want to be. But it's really like what Chris said. I just want to figure it out because all
Hmm.
the it's like closing your window living in the city. Like at some point in time, you want to close it because all the sirens, all the people talking, everything. I'm
Yeah,
trying to figure out what I'm trying to do right now. Like you said, I know I'm gonna figure it out. It's just too many other distractions.
for sure.
So a lot of time that quiet space is that. I'll throw my headphones on and just blast some music. Like it doesn't even
Hmm.
matter. It might be something. It might get me a little, hype, but
Yeah.
it's like it ain't no jazz playing. It's just something playing, just for me
Mm.
to just not to hear
Yeah.
the mundane of the same thing. Of people asking for something, need you to do something. Can you do this?
Yeah.
I need that. What's wrong with this? Telling you something wrong with you, something that you should change about you. Like is a lot of external things that want to change your internals.
Yeah.
So it's just like you just want to just cut them out
Hmm.
and just give you that space.
No, for sure.
Like I said, I don't got a problem being an asshole. I figure if you being called an asshole with the right ways, is that you're doing something right because
Mm.
you ain't falling in line. Like I
Mm.
always tell my friend, like my good a friend of mine, everybody need an asshole in your life because you just be full of shit. Like, so it's just like I'm the asshole.
Got you.
Like I ain't got no, I don't need no punches held on me, but I also don't mind holding them either, not holding them either.
Mm.
It's just I think that's where a lot of people handle people with kitten paws too much.
Okay.
Not saying that as being tough in the sense of not being mindful of their mental, but sometimes that extra push is what people sometimes need. Not almost like a tough love type of thing, but
Hmm.
with genuine love though,
For
or
sure.
genuine care. But then it's like you're not seeing the softness of the situation. Like even me, like I said, people not understand when I'm saying no. I'm being polite. Like I
Hmm.
can't do that right now because I don't have the space.
Yes.
But then they don't mind keep on pushing it and pushing that boundaries more.
Right.
Then you gotta be that asshole now. Like I said, no.
For sure.
I don't have the space there because when you break, they're not there to put the pieces together. A lot of
Hmm.
times, even,
Yeah.
even and let's be real, sometimes even your loved ones, because they have their own things working out.
Absolutely.
So it's not that they're doing anything intentionally wrong. It's just that they're just not being mindful of what boundaries you're setting for yourself.
Hmm.
I do want to add something on the other side of that same coin, because I don't want the narrative to be that black men are just like overwhelmed and we got to say no and stuff like
exactly.
that. I do find it, and I thank God, like I have the ability to take care of the people in my life.
Mhm.
Like if I look at it as a privilege, like I'm in a place where like the things I got to worry about is just like it's just life. Because there are things that no matter how much money you make, you
Don't
can't throw
fix
money at it.
Yeah.
Right.
You can't fix that with money. So understanding like, yeah, you can go get money, you can go do these things, but there's some things that I'm very fortunate and blessed. Like I can take care of that for people.
Yeah.
And people can look at me and know like somebody that they can count on.
Yes.
Do have to make sure that like Stylez said, like you have to protect your mental space so that you don't get overwhelmed. I call it like the lifeguard thing, right? A lot of times someone's drowning and someone goes and saves them and they end up drowning and the other person who was drowning originally is fine.
Yeah.
Right? So you got to make sure that, you're good enough to go swim out and help somebody
For sure.
before you go ahead and drown. But I'm glad I know how to swim.
Mm-hmm. Fire.
So.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. I think it's good to have just like the balance between the two, right? With what both of you guys are saying is that like, yeah, it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be able to help others and want to do it, but at the same time, boundaries have to be put in place and people must respect it, right? Like and that's the thing. I think a lot of times people didn't grow up or weren't raised understanding what boundaries are, especially like I'm Caribbean, right? So for me, growing up in Caribbean households, naturally it's like you do for me, I do for you, and you keep doing, right? As long as I'm asking you to do what I have asked you to do, you must do it, right? I think for me, like that's just from what I've seen, like holistically, that is a Caribbean type of way of
What part of the Caribbean?
So my mom is from Jamaica, my father's from Haiti. So like,
I'm fed.
yeah,
Those in the
period.
building.
Yes, yeah, and it's Labor Day weekend. The time is for us. Like I'm really excited for this weekend. I don't even know what's going on. Like I don't know what I'm doing, but I just feel like because Labor Day is the ending of summer, but it's ending off the summer with a bang. So for me, Labor Day I love, right? And as a Caribbean person, like I think it just it's like it makes me happy this time of the year. But I think, yeah, sometimes I think like the ways in which like, I love all my Caribbean people, but the ways in which like the thought is like do until you can't do anymore, right? Whereas I think if boundaries were put in place, I can do for a really long time because I'm taking care of myself at the same time while I'm looking out for you, taking care of you when I can, as I can. And so I think for me, like I've noticed just, being transitioning from like teen years, young adulthood, and then being a full blown adult with a career and a life, um, having to say no repeatedly frustrates me, right? But that's something that I have to do because boundaries just isn't a thing that is always preached, encouraged, and like talked about in a healthy way in Caribbean households. And shout out to my mom. I love my mom. Even this morning, right? Yeah, I'm talking about you on the pod, Ma. Yeah, I'm talking about you.
Yeah, Mom.
She was frustrating me this morning because I was letting her know I got this podcast. I know I can run late sometimes. Like naturally, like I'm just like a show up late type of person. It's like, yeah, trust me, like when I get there, it's gonna be a good time. We're gonna make the best of this moment, but I might be late, right? Like, and that's just because I just be having a lot going on. But I was just like lately it's been bothering me. I'm like, I could be more intentional to not be late, right? And so for me, I was like, I don't want to be late. I even was planning it through from the night before, but this morning my mom was like, "Oh, can you take me here and there?" Right? And I was like, "No, I can't." Right? Like I was like, "I'll try." Like based on the time frame, I woke up really early, so I was like, maybe I could drop her first, and then I'll be able because she's been having some issues with her car. So I was like, if I can, depending on the time frame, could drop her first and then just head to the city after, right? And as the time is like dwindling down, I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I probably can't do it, right? And I'm telling her this. I'm communicating. I'm like, I might not be able to, right? But where she has to go isn't too far, right? She could take a Uber. She got money. She could take a Uber. She could take the bus, take a dollar van, whatever, cab, whatever the situation is. She has options. I have to drive from Queens to Manhattan with traffic, construction, all of these things to consider. And like, she knows that I do this podcast. I've been podcasting for a while now. She knows this is the thing. I think I told her from last night. So, but she was adamant that I take her, right? And so for me, it was frustrating, but I just kept my composure and I let it be known that I probably can't do it, right? As I'm walking out the door, she's walking out the door with me and she is
Going where you
she's
going.
Right.
she is like
Hell
we're
or high
doing
water, we going.
she's like we're doing this and I'm like no ma'am, we cannot do it. The time is saying 10:30 and to me that is the cutoff time, right? Like I want to take myself at least an hour and a half to get here in case there's traffic or whatever, right? So yeah, I mean, I just got in my car and drove off, right? And I'm sure she has gotten to her destination and she's done the thing and she might be home already, right? But it took me even just being quiet, like not responding, but just reiterating what I said already in a really calm way in order for her to like understand that I'm serious, right? This is it, right? So I think it's frustrating because this idea of boundaries is a thing that I think is like it's a theme. Like you have to stand on it,
Yeah.
right? And you don't even have to get aggressive with it. You just show by your actions. I said no, you still pushing it, I'm out, right?
And it'll be tested. Like,
Yeah.
If you put boundaries, it's almost like, you sure? Like, you sure? Let me
Right.
try again.
Right.
So it's literally what it is.
Yeah.
And it's funny what you said, even with the Caribbean. I laughed at my mom. I was just like, it's almost toxic a little bit, right?
Listen.
Where,
A lot of it.
yeah, a lot of it. You know what I said to my mother? I was like, what's so crazy? The toxic thing is that, I'm pretty sure especially being Caribbean, like my mother used to give me a plate of food.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom is with the spoon, and she's like, more. I was like, Mom, no more.
Mm-hmm.
And then I said to her, the amount that you kept on putting was the amount that I couldn't eat no more. But I got in trouble for not eating the exact same amount that you kept putting in my plate that I said I couldn't eat no more.
Right.
So it's almost the same thing as the boundaries. It's like, I'm telling you what I can't take no more, but you put it on the plate, but you mad at me
right.
what I couldn't eat no more, which was the exact spot where I said I couldn't have no more.
Yeah.
And I used to get in trouble for not eating all the food. I'm like, and she laughs now because I'm a grown adult at this point, but she's laughing and she's like, well, you gotta eat. I hear that. Like, I appreciate the fact the care, but it's also that it's more damage being done because now I'm eating and I'm getting in trouble for me already telling you I can't handle what else you put it at me.
Yeah.
That's literally life. Like
For
a lot of
sure.
times, like you literally I'm telling you, I can't handle anything more that you're giving me right now. And that's what I consider boundaries.
Yeah.
It's like, this is where, like you say, you need to go on vacation. Sometimes like leaving out the place is the boundary you got to create because you can't get to me. I'm in another country. It's fully my place. This is what I do.
Yeah.
It's like me at the gym. Like my phone is down. Yeah, once in a while I record, but even then I'm like, I gotta call you back. Like I'm finishing up my sets. I'm doing whatever I gotta do.
Yeah.
And it's not about the physical aspect of it. It's just more so like, my cousin always said to me, he's like, when you work out, you can't think about the world. You got to think about what you're doing in that moment in time, living in it now. But everything outside of that, you thinking like, even leaving here, like I mean, I'm not even thinking about it honestly. What I'm gonna do with my car, like I can't do nothing until Tuesday. So it's like,
Right.
fuck it.
Mhm.
Like
Mhm.
Tuesday when it comes, I might not be able to do it Tuesday. Whatever, it's gonna get taken care of.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of times people put that pressure of thinking you have other people that don't know that things can wait for another day. There's certain
Yeah.
things that can't, but then your mental health can't. Like
Mhm.
in reality, like you can't keep waiting for tomorrow to put your mental health
Right.
the next day. The
Mhm.
car getting fixed, it could wait. Like it's material.
Yeah.
It could be replaced very easily. But the moment that you break that mental health part in you, like you said,
Mhm.
it's almost you can't even come back from it sometimes,
You
depending
can't.
on how deep in the end you go.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then in terms of boundaries as well, is as much as we want to put boundaries and to have people respect those, right?
Mhm.
You also got to give people grace because
Mhm.
we were whatever relationship you're referring to, like you and your mom, me, my mom, whomever, we were away for such a while.
Mhm.
And so now that I'm putting my foot down and saying like I'm not going to do this anymore,
Mhm.
it's an abrupt change for those people.
That's true.
So you can't expect them to automatically adjust
Mhm.
because it took you time to adjust and build those boundaries for you.
Yeah.
So you got to give them grace and know like, hey, listen, moving forward, I'm not going to be, I can only move like this. If you ask me something, cool. Not cool. Like my mom, she doesn't drive, right? But I'm very fortunate, like, you know, we live in the same complex and the same co-op, I should say.
Mm.
And she used to do this thing where it's like if she noticed like my car was in the garage,
Mhm.
she'd call me. Or like if it's a day I'm working from home, I'm like doing laundry. If we passing, like,
Mhm.
oh, hey, you busy? I need you to do that. I can't do that. Oh, but you home? Like, no, I'm working. I'm doing something. I'm doing my own thing. I can't do that for you. So I set the boundary. It took a while, but she gets it now. If she
Mhm.
wants to ride somewhere, if she needs something, let me know early in the week. I will do my best. I will schedule you in to do those things.
Yeah.
But this stop, drop, and roll and go help you.
Yeah.
It's just not gonna work. And I don't do that for anybody anymore.
Right.
Like it's unless you like call me in the middle of the night. You can call me in the middle of the night. Yo, my car broke down. Whatever the case may be. All right. Are you hurt? Nah. Yo, I'll send you my AAA. But I'm not getting out of my bed now
Mhm.
to go do that because now it's inconveniencing everybody else's stuff in my life.
For
My kids
sure.
got to get to school. I have to work. I start very early. It's like so we have to give people the grace to adjust to our new boundaries.
Yeah.
But this should also be like anything else, like a trial period, like there's a cutoff. At a certain point, like if you're not getting it, like now you gotta like have the hammer put down, like I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
And as we also get older, like I'm Haitian, both my parents are Haitian. We grew up in this very strict household. So the boundaries were one way.
Mhm.
Like they had boundaries of like things you couldn't say, you can't get up, you can't like you couldn't even burp. Like like it's a human function. Like you can't burp. Like what is that? But you can't do those things, right? But
Right.
now as you're an adult, I have conversations with my mom and I look at her more as the woman that she is versus she is my mother. And I have those conversations and I say, I am still your son, but I am also a grown person,
Yeah.
you know? So you have to look at me as that and
Mhm.
not just your son to stop, drop, and run and come help you because you're my mom's.
Yeah.
Because I have to do the same for my family,
Yeah.
you know, my kids and stuff like that. But now, like, after a couple of months of that's whatever, like she gets it, she understands it. Same with
Mhm.
my friends. Like someone would text me, I would text them right back. Now, if I'm working, I'm busy, I'll get back to you when I get back to you.
Yeah.
If it's an emergency, please call 911.
Mhm.
Yeah, I said
Okay?
the same thing.
Please.
They get paid. To do
Yeah, exactly.
emergency,
You know,
man.
Yeah.
I will help you to the best extent that I can. I've started like putting my phone off, like I'm going to bed early.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I'm not answering it. You know,
Yeah.
I used to be afraid of like do not disturb. I'm like, damn, what if somebody be,
I used to
yo,
be the same.
the people who are in desperate need of me are within the household. My kids are my only people who cannot fend for themselves.
Mhm.
After that, everybody's a full-fledged adult. You gotta
For sure.
figure it out. You know.
It's the hard truth.
Mhm.
But it is that. It's like everything he says is literally to the T, like that. Afraid to put it on the phone on do not disturb, but then you don't get a good night's rest.
Right.
Like you don't get it. And like you said, it's just like there's certain things that I noticed, especially this day and age, especially these phones, it takes away the self-reliance on people.
Yeah.
That's why you hear women say a man can't change a tire. Yeah, because you just pick up the phone and call that friend that can.
Mhm.
Like, why you ain't figuring that out? Like at that point in time, there's little things that it's not even common sense. It just should be part of the thing. Like you
Yeah.
ain't asking somebody to put your pants on how to do it, but you know how to get the right gear to fit. But then all of a sudden now, because it's a little work
Mhm.
for you, like a car, you drive the nicest car, but then you don't know how to function. It doesn't
Yeah.
make sense. So it's almost like you gotta have some self reliance on yourself on however you do things because what happened? What happened when that phone dies and that person? You tell me you just crawl over and die. Like you got to figure something out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like you said, is that you got to have that level of. You kind of got to let people trust. You got to trust that people gonna have that self reliance on themselves, where it's just like that you have in yourself.
Yeah.
Because I always tell people like I don't have that. I don't have the luxury of being stupid.
Mm.
Meaning in the sense that I have to know some stuff because I don't have necessarily somebody to necessarily always fall back on.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, if I couldn't cook, I gotta learn how to cook because who's necessarily cooking for me? I'm not. Yeah, I got my mother and so forth for certain loved ones, but who am I calling at 3 o'clock in the morning? I wanna make something. I'm not calling nobody. I gotta go in the kitchen and do it my damn self.
Yeah.
So it's just the I always like I said I don't have the luxury to be that ignorant and stupid about things where I need to know, not that I need to know it all, but I need to know certain things that helps me function day to day.
Yeah.
Like the simplest things. Like there's no reason why you can't feed yourself at this day and age right now. There's freaking microwaves or something. There's no reason why. It's a different issue. Of course, you don't got the finances maybe to purchase it. That's we talking a different
Well, then you
conversation.
really learn how to cook.
Yeah, that's a different conversation, but I
Yeah.
just think that like with it all falls in line that of everything, creating the boundaries, letting
Mhm.
people get that opportunity. Like you said, grace. That's a big part of it. I agree.
Yeah.
Giving them that opportunity to learn the part of boundaries, maybe learn it for themselves as well. Because I think a lot of people that don't got boundaries are also people who break them a lot of
Mm.
times.
Ooh, that's
So
a
they
good
don't
point.
think about that.
For
So
sure.
it's like me, I'm not the person like to break boundaries because I know how protective I am of it.
Yeah.
So I could imagine a person who don't have it, not telling because you don't have it, you don't mind people continually breaking it because you don't know
Yes.
the value in it.
Very true.
So I agree with him 100% when you say giving it some grace because you just giving that opportunity to learn and see what's happening right in front of their eyes
Yes.
and maybe take some notes in that
Yeah.
situation.
No, for sure. No, thank you for sharing, both of you guys. I think, yes. Yeah. I don't think we could ever like talk about boundaries enough, right? Because I think people are constantly working at it. I don't think there's ever a place of arrival like, okay, cool, I got it down to a science because there'll probably be more things that'll happen that may even test those boundaries. And it's not always people. Sometimes it's circumstances, situations. So I think, yeah, a lot of good points. And thank you guys. This was the check-in. And we kind of like,
Oh, we were still checking in?
this was checking in.
Oh, man.
So I'm like, this is good, but I want to switch gears a little bit, right? So we could get into like fatherhood, right? Because you guys are dads.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to talk about like just your journey with fatherhood, right? Like being dads, right? Like did you guys always know you wanted to be dads? How did you guys like what was that journey like for you guys in becoming fathers?
My oldest, her birthday's actually coming up, about to turn 18. Shout out to Naya.
Hey.
That was actually a layup. So when me and my
I'm sorry. You have an 18-year-old? That like I was like that kind of went over my head. What? Wow.
So when I first got with my fiance, shit going on 11 years ago. So that was her first. And came into our life, and it was just like immediate. It was the Three Musketeers with us, and so I kind of got that layup. So I didn't have like the childbirth and that kind of stuff with her. I kind of got her at an age where 6 years old, kind of just figuring things out, and then being that like father for her, and watching her grow. Yeah.
Okay.
So watching her grow and develop and turn into the amazing person she is now. And then my son, who's 4. Jax, my broke little best friend. Actually, he got money. He's not broke. But it was kind of how I even got into like podcasting and stuff because like I started like vlogging, the experience, like pregnancy and stuff, and we have a very a difficult pregnancy, a lot of problems with that, but. And then also going through like COVID and all of those things. And so I started like vlogging and patent watching all that kind of stuff. And then shout out to the other 2. There are 4 of us on the podcast. Steve, Sai, shout out to you guys. I couldn't be here today, but always representing for the Just Daddin the Podcast. And they have young ones that are just a year older than mine. So we were all just like new dads.
Got it.
And every time we would talk and what's going on, and I'll be like, I'm just dadding. Like I'm in the house, I'm helping, clean, take care of the kid, like just being a man about the stuff. I knew I was wanting to have kids. That was always a 100% thing. I knew. My father was, rest in peace to him, but he was what I would call a textbook father. Like if anybody needed to like look at what a father needed to be, like just him. And I knew I wanted to emulate that, and that's what I try to do every single day with my kids. So yeah, I knew I wanted to be a dad. That's one of the things that I identify as.
Mhm.
It is not solely who I am, but it is a very pivotal, important part about who I am as a person.
Mhm.
Um, and I love that. I love being a dad. I think the only thing about being a parent that I necessarily don't like is that you got to share everything. Like you don't really have much of your own per se because
Yeah.
like any and everything you do, it goes back to being like something for them, right? Like like
Mhm.
I can't just like go get my own food, like they're gonna have some, But
Mhm.
those are just things that selfish things. But I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
Love it. Love that. No, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And I did have a question too about just like with your 18-year-old, right? When you
Yeah,
kind of came into her life, she was 6 at the time, and you coming in as a stepfather. What were you, I don't know if you could recall because that was like some time back, right? What were some thoughts that you had at that time? Like, well, for one, because I think this could be helpful for the audience too, right? Because there are people I'm sure who, you know, maybe are with someone in a relationship and they may have children already, right? And like somebody navigating that type of space, what would you maybe like suggest or what piece of advice could you give them, being that like, it sounds like it was successful for you. It worked out really
yeah.
great.
Um, I don't think it's necessary. The advice I'm gonna give is not necessarily pertaining to just like becoming like a step parent of some kind. I think it's the kind it's who you are, right? The kind
Mhm.
of person you are. Like I'm somebody who um I'm very intentional about all the things that I say and do.
Mhm.
Like I'm gonna take my time. I'm gonna formulate what I want to say and how I want to execute what it is that I'm saying. So like
Right.
when I say something to somebody, from my mouth to their ears, it's going to reach you the way I intended to.
Mhm.
And I knew from when I got in, my fiance and I were into like a serious relationship. I wasn't like, oh, I want to meet your kid from day one. I'm like, when you're comfortable with that, you'll see how that goes. I was well on, fine on my own, had my own place, found everything. Like I needed nothing from anybody,
Yeah.
so it gave me the space and opportunity to just accept the things as they came in. Right.
Mhm.
She does have a relationship with her birth father. And so it isn't as though it's like getting rid of one thing versus the other.
Mhm.
Um, I would just say like be open and honest about what it is that you're looking at and what you're doing, right? You understand that this is like a package deal.
Right.
Like I would never in my mind think that she would choose me over her kid.
Mhm.
And I would never ever put her in a position to, nor would I even allow that.
Right.
I think that for anybody out there who has stepchildren, understand that it is a package deal, right? Even like when I proposed to my fiance, right? I proposed to like the both of them
Oh, I
because
love
this is
that.
a thing. Like this is like we are a family, we are a unit, right? She's
Yeah.
the older sister to my son, her brother.
Yeah.
Um, just be open and honest, love thoroughly. If being a parent is not something that you see for yourself, you need to say something about that up front because it'll be a very mean thing to be in a relationship with somebody who has children and you don't want children because
Mhm.
you will never honestly and truly love that person the way they need to be loved, nor those children. And
Mhm.
those children didn't ask to show up here.
Mhm.
You are inviting them into your space, and then it's the two parents are in agreement, and then the kids will kind of just have to fall in line.
Yeah.
But from the first time I met my daughter, um, kind of just fell in love. That was my homie. I've told my lady this, and I say it on camera. Like if anything would ever happen between us, she's gonna be a single person. The kids are staying with me. She can go,
Oh,
but
I
the
know
kids are
that's
staying with
right.
me.
I
That's a
love
fact.
that.
But
Yeah.
no, I don't even look at it like there's no step for me.
For
There's
sure.
like it's just that's just my kid. You
Got
know what
it.
I'm saying? Like if there's an emergency, I'm who's being called. Something happens, like she's gonna call me before she calls her mom. So,
Mhm.
um, yeah, I just think with all things, just be honest, open, and intentional with what you have to got going on.
Yeah. Love it. No, thank
Yeah,
you for sharing that.
sure.
It was great. Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Okay. What was the
Yeah.
question?
What was your journey like starting out like
Oh,
in
oh.
fatherhood? Like did you always know you wanted to be a dad or
I don't know. That's something I never can't even recollect the thinking. I think I did want. I fact, no, I did. I said I always wanted two. I have what I wanted. I had two
Mhm.
boys.
Mhm.
My scenario is very similar. My 18-year-old, I met her, but same thing. I wouldn't call myself a step. I've been. He he don't treat me like a step. I don't treat him like he's my son. Like
Yeah.
shout outs to Jay. He's starting college.
Love that.
same thing. Like, and then my younger one, Christian, came. Uh, he's 14 now, so I have an 18 and 14-year-old. Uh, I didn't know what the hell to do being a father, honestly. Like, I'll
Mhm.
be honest with you, like my relationship with my father is not. He's around, but when you talk about the West Indian Caribbean families or fathers, they I don't know. I guess I don't know. It's just I really don't have no words on that part. Like I
Yeah.
can't even get too in depth. It's one of those type of things I just locked. Now I would say I blocked it out because I don't have any trauma. I just gave up. Like in a
Mm.
sense, like I said, my mother and father they still married to this day.
Mhm.
Shouts to them. That worked out that marriage for them. That had nothing to do. I was the product of it, but that has nothing to do with me.
Mm.
Some people I want to be like my mom and my dad. That's their thing.
For
Like I,
sure.
I want to start my own
Yeah.
tradition, I guess to say.
Yes.
I mean, I am dating. But as far as with my kids, it was uh it was rough. But I had the let me not say it's rough. It was I don't have anything bad to say, to be
Mhm.
honest with you. It was just more like I just did what my heart told me to do in
Mhm.
that situation. Like I don't know what I was doing right. And it's funny that this is even the conversation because yesterday my mom came up to me out of nowhere and gave me a hug. She was like, I gotta give you credit
Yeah.
because she's like, you're not just a dad, you're really a father. Like I see the things you be
Mhm.
doing. And even shout to my brother, even about a week ago, sent me a text message too. Like I'm not thinking of what I'm doing, how good I'm doing. I'm just doing it,
Yeah.
and I don't even look. I think I always could keep doing better, but then everybody around me is saying different. So like I'll be lying to you if I tell you I had this all planned out. I just did it with my heart.
Mhm.
Like I love my sons. Those my world. That doesn't define me, but honestly, that was the best thing I've been able to do in life. Like
Yeah.
yeah, I got good jobs. I graduated college. I do all these things, but I haven't. I've been the best success in that as far as being the father. Like when I see people talk about my children and then they speak of them how respectable they are, how great they are, I'm like, yeah, I'm cool. Like I'm
Yeah.
good with that. Like
Mhm.
I just more concerned of me not being there, seeing them as men more so than anything that even happens with me.
For
Cause
sure.
like I see them, I said I didn't have that. Like I look at my
Mm.
sons, like I didn't have the father that, we could sit down and watch TV together. I didn't have the father that we gonna hang out, we gonna go to the park. I didn't
Mhm.
have that. Like
Yeah.
everything I give my kid, I don't know what that was
Mhm.
like.
Mhm.
That's why it's so funny when there's the other side where there's men that don't take care of their kids. You don't need to know what it's like to just do it.
Mhm.
In reality, like I guess I really don't have a person to sit back and be like, yo, that's the way I wanted to be. Like I just knew what I didn't have or what I wanted. And
Mm.
again, it's the most ironic situation. My father and my mother together to this day. I think they've been married 50 years, if not more.
Mhm.
And I'm sitting here like, you know, I don't have nothing to just say. Like, and it doesn't create no trauma. It was just like, I guess seeing the outcome of how I am as a father with my sons, it let me forget about the father that he wasn't for me. It
Mm.
was like whatever,
Yeah.
because it was your loss. Because
Mhm.
my son is the product of what I would have been, the relationship that I would have had.
Yeah.
But you just took advantage. You didn't take that for granted. I know some say, the situation of they're trying to figure it out.
Mhm.
Guess what I was too.
Yeah.
So the thing is, there's no reason that, like I said, my son, it's my both of them. There's no. They call if I'm running late from home from work. They calling me like, where you at? Like
Mhm.
they checking in on me.
Mhm.
That says a lot. Like
Right.
they calling me, where you at, or what we doing this weekend. Like even though
Mhm.
my circumstances is different from there, because I'm not in the home with them, but now they also teenagers. A lot of people laugh like your kids are still want to hang out with you. They love hanging out with me. Like
Mhm.
and then they still know I'm not the person to play with either. Like I don't play
Mhm.
the game, but
Mhm.
then it's like I know how to give both sides of it, where they know I love them to death. Like they know that if they don't know, I mean, you blind, but
Yeah.
they also know I don't play no games with them. Like you gotta take care of anything. So I really would be lying if I sit there and say I planned or had the idea what it was, but I knew that the opportunity came for me to do something.
Mhm.
Not even do something, for me to just be honestly have that straight unconditional love that we always talk about. That
Mhm.
I get that from my sons.
Right.
Like, I remember telling the time I used to do a job I hated, and
Mhm.
I come home, I see my son wearing my uniform or wearing the stuff that I did. So it's like I still look great to them.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it was always, what's the word? A riddle. Like if I was doing good, but with my kids, they always made me know that I was doing well.
Yeah.
Like it's a job that I think that I did well in. I don't even care to pat myself on the back, but up to this point now, I think I've been doing pretty decent for what I work with.
Good.
But I didn't know. I don't know. I'm even thinking like like I said, I wanted two boys. I do know
Yeah.
remember saying that, But the father I am, I think I surpassed who I thought I could have been, and I think it's because the kids that I thought I could have had, they
Yeah,
surpassed my expectations.
for sure.
So they my world, honestly. Like is done is them or none at
Love
this
it.
point. Like, and I'm not infatuated with my kids as if I can't have a life, but they do come first. That's what they're here for. That's my responsibility. I brought here. They didn't ask to be here.
Mhm.
I hate to say it to even women that that may know. It's just our kids always gonna come first. It's not even
Mhm.
optional. I really don't care.
Mhm.
And like I said, that's a responsibility I took upon myself, and I'm gonna ride until they fathers themselves, and they better do just as good as I did, because
I
there's no
know that's
excuse,
right.
and
I
it's
know
just what
that's
it
right.
is.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Wow. Yeah, well, shout out to those women because they're gonna have a hard time. But I think that's a great thing. Like because if I come across a guy who has children and we're dating and they don't speak like that, I'm concerned, right? I'm
You should
wondering
be,
like
yeah.
Mhm.
what kind of parent are you, right? Like cuz if we were to have a future and like I don't have any children yet, but like I do want children, and if that to me is important. Like how you speak about your children, how you take care of them, how they feel about you, to me that's telling. So I love that. I think that's great. And I did want to ask you too, like, do the mother of your children, do you guys co-parent? Like what's that like?
I mean, we figured it out.
Okay,
I really
cool.
can't go too in depth with that,
Okay,
but
that's
we
fine.
figured it out.
Yeah.
A lot of just figured it out. I mean, it's. I feel like the situations of two different parent households is more common than the ones that are together.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we just did whatever, just made it up to this point. Like I said, we got a son going to college. You know, got scholarship at a pretty prestigious college,
Yeah.
and my younger one right behind with great personality. So however we did, whether we was at each other, that we was on disagreement, we still our outcome worked out.
Yeah.
Ultimately for me, it was just about my sons to be good. As of me, whatever, like I'm the adult here in this situation, so I could figure it out. Again, they
Mm-hmm.
don't know. They just juggling whatever's happening in front of them. So I
Mm-hmm.
just tried to be um as peaceful as I could possibly be. Of
Yeah.
course, we human, but I don't know, like that. I always laugh at this whole co-parenting thing. The first time I heard it was Love and Hip Hop, and I was just like, and I hate Love and Hip Hop, and I was just like, because it puts us such in a bad trajectory of what we are,
Yeah.
and I'm
It's
like,
not
it's like
good.
I always say, when you give bullshit a name, you give it a personality.
Mm.
So it's just like now you found ways to excuse it. Like in
Mm-hmm.
reality, we ain't supposed to be breaking families up. We're supposed to be working things out. We ain't supposed to be co-parents. We're supposed to be parents. Like we're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be figuring it out. So when people start putting names of bullshit, then it's, oh, we're gonna call it co-parent. Nah, just y'all didn't figure out that relationship. Like me and
Mm-hmm.
her, we didn't figure out that relationship. It didn't work
Mm-hmm.
out. But at the end, I'm not co-parent. I'm being a parent, no different if I was in the house. If we were still together, then we co-parent in the home. Were we calling it that? No, we just calling ourselves parents. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like you're trying to justify certain things where it's just like, I don't even look at it, we was co-parent. We both was just being mom and dad, and
Yeah.
however way we worked it. We
Mhm.
might have been in different places, but we figured it out.
Got it.
And I said the outcome, somebody else would probably say y'all should have did this. Somebody would say y'all should have that. But then look at my kids, look at the product.
For
So
sure.
whatever the product is, I see people that think they got it so much better, and I'm looking at the relationship is very different.
Yeah.
So there's no right way of doing it. It's just you do what's right. And honestly, sometimes just shut up. Just do it. Like, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying shut up in the sense you don't speak about what's going on, but a lot of people, whatever advice that somebody give you, they can't give you the best advice because they're not in it. There's certain things that just changes the calculations of what's happening. The kid is different. The mother is something else. You have a different personality. Some people
Mm-hmm.
got trauma in themselves. Some people you just hard to talk to. You just gotta just make it work.
For
However you
sure.
make it work, and if it seems unorthodox, if the outcome, I don't even care how crazy you look. If the outcome seems sane, then
Mm-hmm.
that's just what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
And that's the best advice. I don't really have advice like as far as being like, even in the sense of like of the wrong. I really be lying to you. I'm not gonna be one of them people on camera saying like I got I got the end goal. I don't know what the hell I did. I just did,
Mm-hmm.
and it just worked out. I be lying to you if I got advice. Like, be
Mm-hmm.
honest. Like some be lying like they really know
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
right way. I don't have advice for you. I literally just did it with my heart. A lot of time I shut up when I wanted to be talking,
Mm-hmm.
kept my ego in check, my emotions got that in check and just worked with it.
Mm.
Sometimes you gotta take some stuff in the chin that you don't like, but then that's part of what the situation is that you as an adult made a decision on. The kids didn't do that. So a lot of
Mhm.
times people be thinking like, and I hear people talk about the separate household. They want to be so much controlling in the other side. You gonna have to take that in the chin. Sometimes you can't be proactive. You gotta be reactive because you can't control what's happening in somewhere else.
Mhm.
Sometimes people think that the confusion that they have is so much. You think the only thing you can control in those weird situations is you. That's what I have to realize. Your emotion is yours. You control that.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And then when you react, that's you not controlling it, and then you get into an uncontrollable situation.
For sure.
So it once you put that and again, there's exception to the rule. I'm sure somebody would sit there and say, "Oh, you don't understand." I don't need to understand. It's just the same. It's going to be the same outcome.
Mhm.
You respond uncontrollably, you end up in an uncontrollable situation.
Mhm.
It's not. It's simple math.
Mhm.
And like I said, I'd be lying to you again. I do not have advice to be saying that. You just make it make sense day to day. If it doesn't seem right, you go in this direction, you might want to take a step back, try this, try that. Nobody got the right answer
Mhm.
for you in those type of situations because it really shouldn't be. It's like you trying to make, sugar to shit or shit to
Yeah.
sugar in
Mm.
that situation.
There's no blueprint
Yeah.
like to actually follow. Like,
Mhm.
because the dad I am today wasn't the dad I was 6-7 months ago. Because things are different. Your kids are different.
Yeah.
Like me and Jax, all of a sudden now we're making pancakes every weekend.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Like I have an affinity for cooking, and like he's getting a lot into that stuff. But like
Mhm.
helping him learn that he used to
You didn't
he
see
used to
that
like a
coming?
certain kind of food and he don't like it no more. I'm not gonna force that on him. Like
Yeah.
as a parent, it's very fluid, right? There are obviously some you want to have some foundations in the kids, being respectful, things like that, right? But grown up Haitian, when you go into a room, you have to go and greet
Kiss
every
everybody.
single person, kiss everybody on the cheek, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not
Right.
doing that, and I noticed that like my kids can read people, like they're very good judges of character. So if they really stand over to somebody, I'm not gonna drag you across the room and force you to silence or say hi to somebody. Like, no, hey, what's going on? And if
Mhm.
they have a problem with that, don't talk to me. You can come talk to me about that.
Mhm.
But there's not a real blueprint to being like a good amazing dad or a good father. Yeah, there are certain steps you can take to keep you like, I guess, in a more positive direction of things.
Mhm.
And it's probably the
But
simplest thing, just time.
yeah,
You know,
like
giving the time to them. But that's you could sit there and not be in the room with them, and then you call it time. So
and you teach your kids like
yeah.
like not to touch fire, but they might touch some other shit, and then you gotta are you gonna yell? Are you gonna teach? Like so,
Mhm.
everything is, and you're also like constantly learning because
Yeah.
how I raised my daughter is not necessarily how I raised my son because they're just two different personalities.
Mm.
They receive information differently. The way that their affection is different. The way that
Mhm.
the inflection of my voice between
That's
the two
so
of them is
true.
gonna be
Yeah.
different. So
Mhm.
Believe me,
I
I got
think
two
this.
boys. Same thing. Like they like almost one is very out there. Like he would sit here, know everybody, and the other one he would sit in the corner. He just do his own thing, his own world. The older
Yeah.
one, he's not so care like about the money necessarily. This one, he's like an expensive date. I don't know what he gonna do when he
Mm.
starts dating. Like
Okay.
he wants to, he likes nice things. He's on my dime, but then the other one he doesn't care. So he just like I said, I think if I had things locked in, it would have been more confusing because you
Mm.
would think, oh, you ain't like your brother. I didn't look at it that way. It was just
Yeah.
like that's who you are, and especially me. I got four brothers, so we
Mm.
all literally got different personalities
Yeah.
in our own sense. So like, I guess coming from that is also to understand. Like, I'm not like my brothers, but I might, because I'm the youngest, I might have a little bit of everybody, but
Mm.
I have a different relationship even with each one. So I can only imagine my mother, my
Yeah.
parents with each one as well. Like, I'm
Mhm.
very different from the next. So
Mhm.
just even me looking at it as a parent, like you can't really have a locked in way of doing anything.
No,
And I
for
would
sure.
hate to steer anybody and give them advice as if it really is the end all, like it's a one shot deal type of situation.
Got you. Understood. That makes sense to me. Yeah, it's a kind of case by case
Yeah.
scenario, I feel like, which
Yeah.
makes sense. Yeah, and I think that was, I mean, the last thing you said, I think was a good segue for the next question, right? Which is, how were you guys raised, right? Because I think, how you were raised. What'd you say? Heads up. Oh, how much time? What time? Okay, cool. Thanks. Yeah. So, yeah. So for you guys, wanted to check in how you were raised, right? Because I think, like just from a psychological standpoint, right? Your upbringing, how you were raised, um, plays a large part in
Mhm.
who you become, right? And who you become, of course, will affect your children, right? And like when we talk about generational things, right? Things passed down. Um, so yeah, I kind of wanted to, just jump into that. And how were you raised, and how were you raised? How do you think that plays a part in how you raise your children?
Um, I was very fortunate. Grew up in a two parent household. As I mentioned, Haitian household.
Hmm.
Two parents. There were four of us. I have an older brother, an older sister, and a younger sister. So there's four of us, and we didn't really have much out. There was like no outside kids. It was just my mother, my father, and just us four, and that was it. Like it was just us six against the world. Like we didn't have a lot of cousins, or there wasn't going to somebody's house for this or that. It was like a communion or something big function. Like we out.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was just us six, and that was it. Right.
Hmm.
A lot of lessons and a lot of things that happened in my childhood. I definitely see how I'm a product of those things. Like we talk about like boundaries and stuff
Yeah.
like that, right? Um, things when you're in it as a kid, you don't notice it. You
Yeah.
just know that that's just the way things are. But now as a grown person, a grown man, I'm like, I won't do that with my kids. Like I want my kids to be able to have a conversation with me, tell me how they're feeling about something, what's going on for that, right?
Yeah.
If it's a day I don't really feel like cooking, like I'll give them an option. Like, what would you guys like to eat? Like, give you an option. Haitian household, you're gonna eat what's given. If you don't want it, then you're just not gonna eat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there are a lot of those things that were very traumatic, right? Like you couldn't voice your opinion. You couldn't say anything. If you back talked or had an opinion on something, you would be. It's funny. I saw something on Instagram the other day. It's like your kids are not being disrespectful. Like you're asking them something, they're trying to answer you, but you want them to shut up. So it's
Mm.
like are you purposely being rhetorical, or
Hmm.
are you like actually want an answer, but they're just so accustomed to being so aggressive with things
Hmm.
that there isn't any way for you to kind of advocate or communicate for yourself.
Yeah.
In seeing myself now as a parent, um, there are definitely a few things that I know that are like side effects of those things. Like I got shoes twice a year and they both came from Payless.
Mhm.
I like expensive things now, and I put myself in a position in a career and financially, like I'm gonna, if I want it, I'm just gonna buy it. I
Hmm.
can do that. As a parent, as my growing up, you didn't have those things, right?
Yeah.
Literally, there was no McDonald money. But like now, it's like that. You see the things are just different for those, right? But in terms of like core values and stuff like that, I grew up in my mom to this day. My mom goes, whether it's virtually or in person, she'll go to church 7 days a week.
Hmm.
So I was raised in a Catholic household, but I don't have a denomination myself,
Mm.
right? I have a relationship with God, but I'm not going to enforce my kids like you have to get up and go to church. You have to do these things.
Right.
I'm going to teach you about some sort of spirituality, and I'm going to allow you to learn these different things, but there isn't like a one set 100% like, yo, the way my parents had it, the way I have it, because I realized like that cut me off from the way I communicated with people in the world. That cut me off from so many other opportunities that I wish I would have had.
Yeah.
Um, the minute I got out of Catholic school. I'm going to public high school. I'm playing sports. I got my license stupid early, and I went away to school. I'm like, I'm out of here, bro. Like,
Hmm.
I need to get out, and that's the best thing I could have done.
Hmm.
Um, but not, but I also needed to just get out from up under that.
Yeah.
But in hindsight, now as a parent, looking at like, yo, like some way somehow they were feeding us 7 days a week on pennies,
Yeah.
and it wasn't like we were like poor, but like we were definitely like not middle class. Like like my parents owned where they stayed, but
Hmm.
like my father never had a brand new car.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? He always had, down the block, find an $800 hoopty,
Hmm.
get us around.
Hmm.
I've had numerous new cars, like my parents have never gone on like vacations,
Hmm.
go on vacations every year,
Hmm.
but they made it happen.
Yeah.
And that tenacity, that thing between them, knowing that like I got you, you got me, and we got these kids,
For
is
sure.
something that I make sure that I like me and my fiance talk, and she's Haitian as well, so we have like certain values that we definitely want to keep with the kids, right? Like
Yeah.
you're gonna be respectful, but
Hmm.
like I said, I'm not gonna make you greet everybody in the home.
Right.
I want to make sure that you talk to people, you look them in the eye, you shake their hand.
Hmm.
The fundamentals of the right from wrongs.
Yeah.
Teach them as much Creole as I can, right? You can
Hmm.
obviously fall in love with the foods, but
For sure.
um, as I'm getting older, I do see the things that were traumatic and I won't do to my kids
Yes.
because I know how they still affect me to this day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I still don't like people like touching my head, like top of my head, right? Because all the time you're getting popped up tied to your head and stuff like that. I just don't like it, and like it's a trigger. It's like I don't do that to me. I don't care who it is, because I'm gonna see red. It's gonna be a problem
for sure.
But I'm gonna do the same with my kids, right? Like yeah, sometimes any child needs a little pop here or whatever, but not to the extent of like now they're traumatized the rest of their life because as soon as they look at you, it's a thing, you know. But those are still things that I'm working through day in and day out. My kids might one day get to a point where it's like, you know, you have to instill some of those previous values. But it's definitely shaped me for the better. I'm very fortunate I'm able to pick out the things that I did not find helpful.
Yeah.
And then the things that I know that were helpful and that did help me, that kept me out of the streets in a certain extent, that kept me away from certain things, give those tools to my kids, you know?
Yes.
So, not going to say breaking generational curses, but taking what the previous generations' trauma and stuff and, you know, siphoning through some of those things, filtering it out and taking what I feel is the most positive and passing those on to my kids.
Love it. Yeah.
Thanks.
That was great. Thank you for sharing. What about you, Chris?
For me, very similar in certain things. One thing I learned out of even being a parent, I think we do that even as parents today. We always want our kids to be individual thinkers, but we raise them to be followers a lot of times. Like we're telling them, like he was saying, like, you know, just do as I say and as I do type of thing. But that you wonder why they go out there and do exactly that with other people. So like that was the mentality of what we was growing in. For me, is just like, you know, little things like, you know, I mean, it's very relatable. Like I don't want to be a broken record because it's like very similar things. The only thing is I would say that bothered me that it was I would say my father was very critical. Like it was never you know, you got a B, why you ain't get the A? But it's not to say that I didn't try. You also never would question the teacher. Like I hated school because I think I hated the teachers, honestly. Like, because I got the college, I blew through college like it was nothing.
Yeah.
It was because I had full control on that because I could handle that situation. Like a lot of times, like the parent wouldn't even trust in the kid. I wasn't abused or something like that, but it's just like, yo, this teacher's giving me a hard time.
Yeah.
I just want you to come up there and question the thing, and like I think I would have did just fine. So like for me, it was a lot of the. I laugh a lot of time. I say for me, I don't really call it trauma. It just makes me not put it onto my kids. Is that if there was certain like my mom, dope woman. Like I come home, you know, I remember growing up, like even right now, my mom, you look hungry, she's gonna make a meal right then and there, even though she owes him a meal. But she's gonna make a meal.
Like,
on my
food,
love
Ma.
was always there, but my mom wasn't a person to reckon with either.
Okay.
Like she whooped your ass at the same time, but she let me know very well that she'll let me know very well that she loved me though. It was never like a thing that I didn't question.
Yeah.
I said my father's side, he was very critical, and I just try to make sure I didn't do that with my kids.
For sure.
Where it was just like I laugh like when I said before, it's like how far I was able to get as far as with no real motivation. Like I had motivated myself, so I only imagine what I would have been able to accomplish if I had that motivation or that help to, you know, push me there. But that's really it. I just try to instill that with my kids, you know, give them the reassurance that I'm always proud of them, whatever. Like that's really it. Like anything that I didn't like, I made sure to leave it there, and anything that I wanted to have, I made sure I give it.
Understood.
And that really was really just that when it comes to, you know, what my past and how I am as a father.
No, for sure. Fire. Love it. Love what you guys shared. I think there's a lot of good takeaways here. I hope y'all listening, right? Because I'm taking notes, mental notes too. I'm like, this is so good. This is good. I have like I'll end off with one final question because we're like winding down, right? And just like a quick, more lighthearted question, I would say. What's your favorite thing about being a dad? And then the worst thing. What's the worst thing? You can start with the worst first or the best first. What's the worst part of it? What don't you like? And then what's the best part? What do you really like?
I would say that my best part is just watching them grow. Like watching my sons, their personalities and them just growing into something, and I was part of that.
Yeah.
Like as dope as it is, like I think my kids is dope. Like just looking at them, like they're some dope ass kids. And not because they fly, not because they just dope kids. Like anybody that will meet them, they be around, everybody, especially Christian, like he just has a big personality. But my kids is dope. So that's just seeing them and then growing into their selves
Yeah.
is my favorite part. Like them questions and their interests. Even like my son, he knows I like music. Like he's coming to me with new songs and asking old school joints. I'm like, how you know about that? Like it just puts a smile on my face.
Yeah.
Right.
And one big thing I always said, like that makes me love it, is that you really it hits it's so prolific for you with your kids is when you teach them something and when you did it wrong, they corrected you.
Mm.
Meaning, like I told him how to do, like when I was ironing something, and I was quick, and they had like logos or whatever on it. And,
Mhm.
you don't iron on the logo because
Right.
it melts. So he sees me, Dad, you ain't supposed to do that. And then I was like, why? He's like, oh, because you told me not to do that. So it was just like the
Mm.
lessons I'm teaching you, you kept
Mhm.
holding me accountable
For sure.
for it. My worst part right now, and I think I had that conversation. I was telling him, I'm at the worst, scariest part as a father, because now I have an 18-year-old and I got the world got him at their hands in a sense.
Yeah.
Like it's the most scariest part because I
For
gotta
sure.
let him out to the world.
Right.
Like it's one thing your kid's going to pre-K, yeah, he was scared, you crying at the door, blah blah blah. Wait till
Mhm.
you gotta send your kid off to the world. Like
Mm.
anybody that don't have, I mean, you have 18-year-old, but then when you gotta literally, you cannot hold them because you're doing a disservice, but you gotta let
Mhm.
them go and you're scared.
Yeah.
Like him going out, like my oldest one, he goes out, he wants to go to the city, he wants to walk around. It's scary. Like, but how dare I stop him from doing that too? But I have to let that happen where it will make my anxiety go through the roof. Whereas it's like I hope he's good, but I also can't do that all the time. You almost
Yeah.
gotta let go a little bit, but
Mhm.
hold on. And that's the scariest. So probably the most part I hate is it's like you gotta, it's like I guess like you'll see like your mom will probably you're always her baby.
Mhm.
I see that now. Like that's still my little dude. Like no matter what,
Mhm.
but he's not.
Yeah.
It's just the reality is having that moment in time where you gotta just yo own that. Like
Yeah.
you did what you had to do up to this point, or the best you can at this point. I hope all the tools is instilled in him that I try to put into him as far as moving around in the world, and you just gotta hope that he's just good, and that's all you can do is just have hope at
For
that point in
sure.
time.
Yeah.
So that's probably the main part I hate of it at this point in my life as a parent.
Absolutely. Understood.
I think my favorite thing about being a father, I I adore and I truly love the fact that my kids love me unconditionally.
Mhm.
They're probably aside from my mom, like they're the only people that, like, no matter what's going on in my life and what, when I come in the house, like they just light up. Like
Yeah.
dad's home, like that. My son, every morning he wakes up, he's worse than a rooster. He's like this morning he's up at 5:45 because he has a job, I think. I don't know. But he always wakes up with a smile on his face. And he
Mhm.
comes to my room and he sees me, hey daddy. My daughter, she's not much of a morning person, but like they just love me
Yeah.
unconditionally. They don't have to ask me for nothing. They don't have to need anything. I just know, like, they look at me and they love me unconditionally. And that I love.
Love it.
Um, I don't really think there's a worst part about being a father. I think in the times where I have to be that disciplinarian, um, you don't want to ever make your children feel sad or smaller than they are.
Mhm.
But sometimes things are necessary for lessons.
Yeah.
Um, and seeing them like be saddened um because of the lesson that, like, I have to teach them, that hurts. Like, it's not the old school, like, yo, you getting your ass whooped and all that kind of stuff, but it's like you do need to get chastised. I do need to tell you the importance of the right and wrongs and the doing thing. Like, even like my 4-year-old, he might get in trouble with something. You guys go sit in the corner, go to your room for
Mhm.
30 minutes, and like he's losing his shit. And it's like you have to learn that lesson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As much as, like, I wish I could just say fuck it and you just come play, but it's like it's more than just right now, it's for tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then you see how though they learn those and how those things grow and progress.
Yeah.
So that's probably like the worst part. But those are so far and few in between that it's like there's nothing, like I said, it's there's nothing that I wouldn't not do for them
Yeah.
day in and day out. So, yeah.
Understood. Love it. No, thank you guys so much for
Thanks so much for
sharing.
having
Appreciate you.
us.
Yeah.
No, this was so great. I'm like, ooh, yeah. I understand that disciplinarian part for sure. And what you said about your 18-year-old, that's why I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, as I'm getting older, I'm like, do I really want to be a parent or do I want to be the fly auntie for real? Because it's frightening. Like the
Yeah,
thought of
It
like
is.
having a child to me is so frightening. But you guys, y'all been doing it. Y'all been doing it for a long time and doing it well. So
Appreciate that. Thank you.
definitely all of the flowers for you guys. Um, but I think we're at the end. But definitely let the audience know where they could find you guys. If you guys have anything going on too that you want to share, that you want people to like tune into, you know, yeah, let them know.
You can find us on every media platform. Just Daddin the Podcast. No D in Daddin. So JustDaddin the podcast.
Mhm.
I'm on Instagram, chris.is.king.
Mm.
We're definitely coming right back soon with a lot of good content. Right now we're in the lab cooking, revamp the show some. So we're excited for what's we're about to show you guys out there.
Mhm.
And then just tell a friend, tell a stranger, tune in and catch us.
For sure.
And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And for myself, I mean, he's broken everything down, but you can find me on Instagram, Producer Styles with a Z, NY, Producer Styles NY. I mean, whatever I'm on there is affiliated with the Just Daddin and my own little. I'm pretty private, but you get a little part of my life, and
Mm-hmm.
it may not be too entertaining, but whatever.
Yeah. And again, shout out to our brother Steve and Sai that couldn't
Word,
be here with us,
Steve
but
Sai, for
between
sure.
the four of us, we make up the Just Daddin gang.
Yeah.
So again, thank you for having us. We
No, of
appreciate
Yeah,
this.
for
course.
sure. I like this.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Thank you guys for being so open and sharing transparently, right? Where that can sometimes be difficult. But y'all podcasters, so y'all know what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But no, thank you guys for coming and your Mental Matters podcast, guys. We are out.
Peace.